Ta-da! So how are you? I hope everything is going well and fine. I just want to make a quick short video to tell you about silence and how you can use silence to assist you in your process, in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day activities, to bring and help you, assist you dealing with different kind of situations. So first of all, a lot of time when you think about spirituality and you're thinking about, silence, you think about, those challenges that people make, saying, stop talking, go back to yourself for, 30 days, don't say anything to anybody and stay in yourself. This is not what we're talking about here. For me, my take on spirituality is like, it's not something that you just do because of a challenge, or you just to do it once in a while or out of the blue like that. It's really something that has to be brought in because it's going to assist you in a certain way on a day-to-day basis to make and assist you in transforming yourself and serving you on a day-to-day basis. And so this is my take on silence and how you can use it. Silence is so powerful. I mean, times and times again, I've given silence treatment to several people. Since I've been a child, I'm not much of a person who's going to start yelling and screaming. I'll rather just shut completely down and just be quiet. And I've noticed that for me, it works for me because usually when I have something to say, I'll think about it. I've just choose my words. I'll, try to be as compassionate as I can be when I express myself. And that came out through the years. When I was much, much younger, I used to have, fights with my brothers and sisters. And believe me, my mom quickly told me to really be careful with that power, because the type of I wasn't the type of person where when we start arguing and I tell you something, it's really going to cut you, it's really going to hurt you, because I'm not going to be talking about things that are all willy-nilly. I'm going to really tell you things about that are going to be that actually matters to you. So I had to learn from a really young age to use silence, and for me what it meant is that my words were very powerful. What I have to say, or how I'm saying it, and to who I'm saying it, may have a really huge impact on their lives. Even if to me it may not be as important to me, but it may have a huge impact on that person's life. And so I had to be careful with that. I have to be careful on how I word things. And whenever I'm doubtful, I just stay quiet. Whenever I'm angry, I also stay quiet, because as we always say sometimes, when we're angry, sometimes we say things that we don't mean, sometimes we just say things that come to our minds. And I think that's a very interesting thought, to be that things that just come to our mind at that particular moment. And this is something we're going to a little bit in the fall, when we dive into the darker side of the preparing for the winter, and looking at maybe the things that are lingering that we don't really want to look at, the things that are being suppressed. But what I was to get back to silence and how you can use it, basically, is that if you value your words, if you really understand the power of your words, you will really speak to voice something that matters to you at the very least. You will really speak, when you're having conversation, things that are really, of somewhat of an importance, so that when people come to you and start asking you things, they're going to start valuing your opinion. They're going to know that you're not just running your mouth just to run it, or running with gossip, or running with things that are unfounded, or giving opinions that are not backed with research or experience on different topics. And to me, what I've noticed is that when people value your opinion, they value your silence even more. Your silence is even more impactful on them. And whether there's people around me, and everybody knows who knows me knows that when I get mad, I'm very quiet. I don't say much. And people immediately, when I start, they're asking something, I'm like, I'm okay. And people immediately will change their demeanor, and they will try to please me, do all kind of things. And I've done that with my parents, I've done that with my sisters, my siblings. It started at home, and then I know that in the workplace and with friends and stuff like that, it's pretty much something a tool that I've used for myself, in saying, I'm not, if you're getting to me, I'm being triggered, I'm not going to express all that negativity out. I'm just going to sit through it, let it pass, and we'll talk when I'm at ease. And so this is the first way you can use silence. Be quiet when you're angry. I didn't say don't express your anger. I didn't say repress your anger. I just say do not voice and express things that may be detrimental to other people or to your own self. So there are different things we will see. We will see other tools about how you can deal with things you feel like you want to suppress and deal with like that. But silence can be used to avoid getting in trouble when you're angry, and it would actually help you ease into that emotion. That's why sometimes people say, rather than get into a heated argument, they just walk away. They will just take a walk. And usually it's men. Men will just take a walk. And I think women need to be taking a little nudge down. But for me, it's that I just be very quiet and I just listen. And it's not like I'm quiet and I block everything. And because I'm just so into like my ways and I don't want to listen anymore. No, it's that I'm quiet because I don't want to just burst open. Like I'm not a screamer, and I'm like I don't want to waste my energy and my time screaming at someone else. As I've seen that. But when I'm quiet, I'm also still listening. I'm also still observing what's going on, and I take notes. Like my little brain computer is still working and taking notes, and working on that folder. So that's one way to use it. When you're angry, it enables you to calm down. Another way is basically when you're trying to visualize. Sometimes people will go and put a little bit of music, put this and that, but silence is completely best. Silence is really when you go and you focus just on yourself and you go return to yourself. You have to be silent in that moment, in that process, so you can really hear your thoughts, so you can really hear what's going on inside of you. It's very hard for you to be talking and at the same time being meditating because you're already engaging as you're trying to focus within, you're also engaging outside. So that's another point, especially for those of you who are having issues starting up with meditation. Use silence. Go in a quiet place. Allow yourself to relax as well in the silence. Another point that ties in actually to the previous point about when you are being to use silence, not to say things that you may regret or that may hurt the other person, is also to use silence to calm down. Like I mentioned, for me, when I'm very angry and I sit in silence, the silence actually helps me ease it up. The silence actually helps me just watch that anger pass and watch how that anger, where it's coming from. It gives me a little leeway to kind of notice where it's coming from, notice what the trigger is, so I can explore it later and address it. So silence is a wonderful tool to help you calm down. And this is why sometimes, a child is getting out of hand, and we just, so people will say, time out. Like, time out, stop, go in your corner, be by yourself for a minute, stay there, refocus yourself, and when you feel like it's okay, you can come back and we'll talk about it. Just moving away, stepping away from the situation and taking a break. That's also a great way to use silence and how silence can help you. Of course, silence is also really helpful when you're doing meditation because it helps you think. It helps you engage your inner self. It helps you process and see what's going on within. And meditation sometimes it's just like to be there in a quiet space. Of course, some people like to do it with background music. Some people like guided meditation, all this stuff. But ultimately, for me, meditation, for me, what I like best is when everything else around me is quiet. If it's not the sound of nature, the bird and things like that, I don't want to have any extra out there. For me, I don't like guided meditations. It's not something that works well for me. I do have clients who like and enjoy that. That's fine. It's just something that I don't really. It's very few and selected people that whose guided meditation I do appreciate. For most part, I don't. So it is a tool you can use, to enhance your meditation and to really refocus yourself within. And for me, my best meditative time, I think, when I do really, really well connect is when I meditate in the dark, in the silence, in the dark. And when the weather is nice, I can meditate outside by a tree in the dark. Otherwise, I can also meditate while doing the dishes, while doing other things, because once you grasp your state of mind, you're able to tap into that state of mind no matter where you are. So I'm saying my preference is in the dark or in the silence, but I can still meditate in the kind of situations. And then finally, silence, you have to be comfortable with silence. I don't really get why some people are not comfortable in silence. And I've seen that even in college. I had few friends, and with those friends, for me, in order for me to have the type of friends that I've had, the friends I've had throughout the years are people who don't really budge down and give into the mainstream standards, if you like. Meaning that we could be there watching a movie or even just like chilling, hanging out, and nobody's talking and there's no discomfort whatsoever. It's not an awkward moment. We don't have to feel every bit of silence with some noise, with some gibberish. You have people, it's like they feel so uncomfortable. Like for example, sometimes you're in the elevator, you're just stepping in there, you're pushing your button and you're just waiting for the elevator, and the person next to you feels uncomfortable. They won't engage you, maybe they don't know what to say to you, or they want you to interact with them, and you just in your own mind or whatever, and they're going to starting conversation and saying whatever they're going to say. Let's talk about the weather, let's talk about this, let's talk about how the decoration inside of the elevator. So silence makes some people very, very uncomfortable. And if you're one of those people, you need to wonder why. Why is it that you always need someone around you? Why is it that you always need some kind of noise? Why is it that you always feel the need to fill all of the spaces with some noise or something? Why is it that silence makes you so uncomfortable? You may want to start thinking about that. Where does it come from? That discomfort has a root that you may want to start exploring or assessing as well. And I think when you're able to sit comfortable in silence, to feel comfortable with yourself, that you don't have to be entertained, you don't have to always have someone next to you, to depend on the company of others, where you can just be there with yourself in silence. I think once you experience that, you really enjoy it. You really realize there's so much you can discover by doing that. And I wish you start exploring that as well, so you really find out what is the silence within you. Is there a silence within you? Maybe for you there's a lot of things going on even in the silence. So there's something else for you to explore if you'd like to. So I hope this video was helpful. So use silence as a tool. Use it to get out of the situation before you get too heated and you say things you will regret in the morning. Use it to recenter yourself, to refocus you on your inner world and be able to assess what's going on in there. And use it to be comfortable, to be able to expand yourself and address it, to be able to realize that your company is enough. Your being starts with you. Your own company is enough. Feel your own presence. Indulge into your own silence, into your own self, and appreciate that. Because I think if you do appreciate that, then you will appreciate company and good company even more. So thank you so much for watching me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.